What's up, everybody? It's another Powershift Your Week segment, and I hope everybody had a great weekend and a safe weekend. So, first of all, you know that I do this every single Monday, and thank God it is powered by T-Mobile for Business, because they want to make sure that we have a bigger amount of people learning from us on how to power shift your week and hopefully power shift your life, because if every single week you find different ways to add power to yourself and adjust certain ways and empower others while we go through these crazy times in our lives right now, you're going to be better off the next week and the week after that, and you're going to slowly keep growing, right? That's what life is about. So thank you, T-Mobile, for Business, for going out there and reaching out for businesses, big and small, but more importantly, the small mom and pops who right now are being affected in so many amazingly challenging ways. So we're going to sit here and we're going to learn. So I'm going to give you three, I go through a couple of segments. Number one, it's the Did You Know, where I'm going to educate you on something that I also learned this week and how I'm going to use it for the best of my ability, and hopefully you'll use it for the best of your ability. Two will be the motivation mix, which is something, listen, I've always found that songs can be very, very empowering, and especially during times like this. And segment three, where I'm going to be taking a Q&A from a fan, one of T-Mobile for Business's fans. And of course, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to, at the end with my last segment on what can you do. And I'm going to put this in the structure so every single week that you can get to really think about this structure and be even ready for the following week. Now, I'm not going to ignore it, and I don't want to act like and be tone deaf. We all know what's going on in our country right now, and I've already spoken about it several times, but so that you don't necessarily have questions here and you feel like I'm ignoring it, I'm just going to touch on it a little bit right now. We're going through a very challenging time, and I understand everybody's frustrated and mad and angry and hurt. But we got to find a way to band together and create this change. I know a lot of people are saying, well, I've seen this thing happening to certain type of people over decades, and change has not happened. So the only way that we can have change is to start going out to the streets. But you're endangering people. The message is being lost. And the reason I say that is, if we are upset about the small percentage of people maybe abusing their power and the message is lost, and now the communities and everybody of all walks of life are scared, then if you're going out there and peacefully protesting, don't let the small percentage that are out there for the wrong reasons mess up what you're trying to say. I saw a great video with John Jones, the fighter, was out in the street. He was taking spray cans away from the little kids who were out there to cause problems and mayhem. If you're going to go out there and you're going to protest, please also be responsible and make sure that the other people don't ruin exactly why you're doing it, because that can endanger you, right? So make sure you do that. Also, put out a lot of the positive messaging that I've been seeing. I guess I'm just the guy because the glass is always half full. I've been seeing when men of color surround a cop that was got off track by his squad, and they surrounded him and protected him to make sure that the people with the bad intentions did not hurt that man. I saw sheriff's departments who walked with people and gave them pounds and walked with them collectively without their shields on to the state capitol or to the building to say it's wrong. Even though we're in this here, we also agree with what's going on. I saw a band of women who happen to be Caucasian arm locked in front of black protesters, in front of the police, to say, you hurt them, you hurt us all. Send out and put out those images of unity, and instead of obviously seeing what divide is out there. Remember, we have way more in common than we do apart. And recently I found out that the woman who sold all the FUBU ladies clothes on Melrose, her place is looted. She's just a single entrepreneur like many of you right here who are trying to do the best. And during COVID, it was already hard enough. So please just get the messaging out the right way. And we're going to get through this together. I can't say that I have the answers, but I saw some great stuff by Governor Cuomo speaking about how they do know what to do. There are ways to get independent policing reviews done and whatever the case is. So that's way above my pay grade, but check out a lot of things that you can do from home. But if you are on the street and you think you can't do something, taking a spray can away or telling somebody or taking a video of them and saying, hey, I'm going to report you because I see you, what you're doing here. Stand up against yourselves as well and the people around you who are creating the bad. Now let's get into segment number 1, which is, did you know? So I love seeing about things that are facts that we can all learn from. Because remember, you can make up your own opinions, but you cannot make up your own facts. A recent McKinsey study showed how diversity improves the workplace and increases profitability. The findings included that organizations with the most gender diverse leadership teams were more likely to outperform on profitability and value creation. Now, that really resonates with me. Now, but something I really resonated with was that organizations in the top quartile for ethnic cultural diversity were more likely to achieve above average profitability. Now, what does all that mean? It means that having female leadership or male leadership combined will take you to the top. It means that understanding and having a diverse group of people working on things from age to ethnicity to sexual preference, it helps you. Why does that help you? Because I'll give you an example. If we were the American Army and we wanted to understand how to be more equipped to fight other armies, the Russians or whoever, right? For whatever reason, let's use that. You think you only want to talk to just American generals? Don't you want to talk to other people that think a different way? That say, well, this is what we had traditionally prepared and or how we we're ready for you, or here's our weaknesses. You want to hire people that work over there. That's why you benefit, because that's called creativity. If you are selling goods and or you are selling a service, you don't want to be tone deaf. You don't want to not know how to be appealing to everybody, because you want to be inclusive. It is a blessing when anybody of any color, any age supports what you are doing, whether they're supporting you right now by watching you on social media, they're following your workouts. Would you ever say, if you were super fit and you saw somebody super fit following your workout, you go, wow, I only want to work people out like you? Or do you want to see people who have different struggles and say, I can improve any and all of your lives because I know what many of you need? And that's exactly why when you get to a certain level, and even when you want to get funding, you get a board who's diversified. You get people who say, this person you retail, this person you this person you finance, so you get an age diversity. In my group, the Shark Group, they are extremely diversified there, because I want the younger people to be able to mentor the older, and the older mentor the younger. I think there was a really great quote that I saw 1 second out there, and it said, first of all, listen, I love to hire people that are bring different perspectives to the table, and I'm not purposely seeking out people of different backgrounds. I'm seeking brilliant people, no matter what color you are, but I'm giving them a shot, and I'm not hiring them because they have a different background. And I just want people to know that, you can contribute positively to the team through many different forms. So please understand, even if you just want to be greedy about it, that when you diversify, you win. Remember, if your team is only playing one way and half the people are on the bench or they're not even there because you're not using for those skill sets, you're never going to win. So make sure that you try to diversify in all forms. All right. So that's segment number 1. Now, of course, I love to talk about this one because at this time, I think we need to talk about it. It's my motivation mix. And for my motivation mix, the song today is Glory by John Legend and Common. And I think it means so much to us because it talks about we can never, the lyrics are really that powerful because it underscores why we all need to come together for a common goal. And my favorite line is, no one can win the war individually. It takes the wisdom of elders and young people's energy. And I think that's amazing. And I think why it resonates with me, obviously because what we're going on and it's going on in the world these days. But also, I was there at the when they got nominated for the Grammy, and it was absolutely amazing. I mean, for the Oscar and it was a really amazing time when the performances of the Oscars, and it always stuck with me. And I never thought that we would need it so much during this time. But really coming together is absolutely something that we need to do. So I want you to go and check out my Powershift Your Week motivational playlist on Spotify, and you can check that out, that song and so many more. So now here, I'm really excited. I'm going to right now do an interview, a Q&A with T-Mobile for business fan and small business operator, and I'm sure that every single person here, inclusive of myself, can learn from this small business operator to see what they're doing and what they're finding ways to, how they're finding ways to not only just survive during this time, but T-Mobile for Business wants them to flourish during this time. And make sure you stay to the end, where I'm going to give you where other resources that T-Mobile for Business can give you some other ways to hopefully empower yourself. So it's time for fan Q&A, and I'm going to look for him right now. There you go. All right. We are waiting for Canlis Restaurant. Let me say it the right way. Canlis, how you doing?
Hey, I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. How you holding up today over there?
We're doing all right, all things considered. How you holding up?
I am good, man. You know, I'm going to, I'm sorry, got to move my screen up because I'm my own producer, so.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm my own producer.
Good, right?
You look a lot better than me producing your own stuff.
All right, there you go. And I got you.
Sweet. All right.
All right, cool. So pronouncing it right, is it Canlis or Canlis?
It is, yeah, Canlis. Yeah.
All right, so where are you based?
So we're in Seattle. It's a restaurant we've been running since my grandfather started in 1950. So this is our family doing this for 3 generations now.
Wow, congratulations. I mean, I always tell people that, you want to find a mentor, find somebody who's run a small business for 20 years in your neighborhood to see how they've gone through all the change, everything else. And now you've been around how many years?
We've been around 70. It's our 70th year.
You know what? Maybe I need to become an intern for you because you could probably teach me.
Sold. I'm in. Hold on a second. You know, I take you in a heartbeat.
So tell me about the profile of the menu. What do you serve, and just give me the history.
Yeah, right. So this just started off as, in fact, my grandfather's first place was in Hawaii right after the war. It started off as a place just to highlight like local food. We've always wanted it to be sort of the best restaurant we could make it, and so it just sort of evolves with the times. It's dinner only, so it's fine dining, it's fancy, but that's not what we're doing right now. Of course, that's just not what the city needs and not what the country needs. And so we've shifted from being a fine dining restaurant to just cooking home cooked meals and delivering to people all over the city, and doing everything we can to keep the staff employed and just kind of press on in this time.
And that's and I know I'm going to get to if you have any questions for me to power shift, but that's a good. I think that's a good power shift right there. So, did you realize that there just wasn't any sensibility in fine dining at the point, or because many people would have said, well, you know what, that's our menu, that's what we're known for.
Sure.
I'm going to go get this other kind of food. There's places that are legendary for that type of food, and I don't want to change. I'm stuck in my ways. I'm not changing.
No, Damon, that's what a lot of people have asked us. It's just like, why make that change? And at some point there comes a time when you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, it's not good enough, or that was fine back then, but it's not okay now. And when the pandemic first hit and Corona started sweeping through our city in Seattle, we caught this thing first. It caught us on our heels. It was a sucker punch. I'll be honest. We were all sort of like deer in the headlights, like, what do we do now? And it was a hard moment, but the honest truth is we just said, look, what we provide to the world isn't the right thing right now. And either we become obsolete or we change ourselves in order to serve the community. So either we go away or we change ourselves in order to do something that is right now. And I think, we're talking February, March timeframe, but it was a time when we just said, okay, maybe we don't have our business, maybe guests can't come in the restaurant, but there is a lot that we do have. And to focus on what we have as opposed to what we don't have for us was a really powerful thing. It just allowed us to make a bunch of changes and to and we haven't had to lay anyone off. And in our industry, we feel so remarkably fortunate in this time just to be able to do that. We're so blessed. So that was the goal. How do we keep working, and how do we keep pushing? And I think the human spirit wants to endure, right? So you just give them a chance, like give it a chance to fight through and to do anything you can. And so, yeah, we ditched basically all of our branding. We shut down our old website. We launched a new one, and we just said, doesn't matter if people don't need canvas, fine dining restaurant. What they need is dinner. What they need is home cooked meals. What they need is to be supported. They need to be loved. They need to be turned to. They need to be like, someone's got it. You just look to your right and your left. You say, I got you. And it isn't even about figuring out what the future of the company is. And so many people have asked us, like, are you going to keep doing this? And it's like, I don't have a crystal ball, right? I'm going to figure out one day at a time, and we're going to ask ourselves, what can we do? And I think that's where it starts.
Well, I don't know if you got that, I don't know if you got that trait from your father, or your grandfather, but, that's the reality of business, right? It is, you said so many things that what is a true power shift, right? A true power shift is that you first take inventory of what you have and what your resources are, and you do not try to dictate what you can't see. You do not have a crystal ball. On the flip side, a lot of people think that big corporations have so much vision, right? And small entrepreneurs fly by the seat of their pants. And I've said this many, many times, but if big corporations had, really massive views all the time, then Blockbuster and Kodak and BlackBerry and
Sure.
So many would still be here. But I find that the true entrepreneur that understands what to do is they do the best they can do today for their customer today, and tomorrow they wake up and do the best thing they could do tomorrow for their tomorrow, and you end up being around for so many years. Now, do you have any questions for me that I can help you with?
I have so many questions for you. So I mean, and look, I want to be sensitive. It was a crazy weekend, right, for us in Seattle and for so many cities around the country. And so I think one question that's just on all of our hearts is, how does a small business like ours? I mean, here we're in the hospitality business. Like, our whole thing is reaching out and taking care of your neighbor, or reaching out and supporting and restoring them. And so how does a small business do that? How does a small business right now not be tone deaf and tune in and actually, and our own response so far has been, okay, well, how do we just start with our own employees? Like, who on our staff can we be caring for, and how do we do this just internally as a company? But then I think my question at large would just be, what is the best way for us to plug into issues that are way more important than what our business typically does, which is serve dinner. So I don't know if if there's a way you can go there, but that's what's on all of our hearts right now, is watching what's going on in the news and watching what's happening. It's just like, what does support look like right now?
We are all extremely frustrated and we're extremely hurt. And I think that the people who care, a lot of times when they played the sideline because they thought this was going to be resolved somehow, and they go, not again, not again, not again. And they look at leadership and they go, what do I got to do right now? Because I feel weak. I feel like I know that I'm a local or large business owner or community leader, and it's just not changing.
Right.
First, I think the first thing is, yes, talking to your staff and making sure that your own house is clean, of course, meaning that you are doing the right things and standing by your staff and understanding some of the systemic stuff that has gone on in the past. But where are the things that you can do? Like, you can realize now that you have a voice in the community because you are somebody who votes. You're somebody who has, you have to pay a larger amount of taxes than other people. You have to employ people. And at the times when the community gets together to talk about these matters, people need to know that they're held accountable. The police need to know, and you need to have that conversation because I'm sure a lot of the local police. They check on you. They've gotten food from you. So you got to start asking. These community town halls need to be brought together and say, How are we going to create the change? And give me some answers. Give me some plausible answers. And I can't say that I'm going to give you all the answers that I have, but in reality, let's be just greedy and talk about the city. Or let's talk about, and I shared this on TMZ. If you're an officer or you're a family of an officer member who sees that another officer is doing wrong, if you don't speak up then, your life is in danger, because if you're the husband or wife of an officer that does the right thing, the 99% that does the right thing, and they go out and they see somebody and they know they're with officers that do the wrong thing, unfortunately what happens is there becomes a community that when they get pulled over for a broken taillight, they don't know if they're going to die that day. And what happens? Your husband or your wife's life is now in jeopardy. Good business owners like you, or people like many of us who are, our business is going to be hurt, or our taxpayer dollars. Think about how much of our taxpayer dollars for the next 5 years are going to go for lawsuits and cops and because nobody policed the police.
Yep.
Right? So I don't know if I have all the answers, but it starts with even let's play, like I say in Powershift, what's in the best interest for the person on the other side of the table? Meaning, I don't want my husband or my wife being at risk on the streets because you let some bad people go. I want a different form of protection. I don't want the police saying, well, we're not going to prosecute. Somebody else, totally independent, should be able to prosecute. And if they have a bad record, and I said this, listen, this guy had, I think, either 12 to 17 police brutality cases, right? If I was in your restaurant and I spilled food on somebody's face 17 times, I don't think I'm going to have a job.
No, you would not. No, you would not.
So I totally understand the frustration, because as we look out at the beautiful colors of the people that are on these front lines for us, and they're saying this is not right. We got to figure ways, right? And I'm open to anybody on my platform who could ever give me suggestions and and stuff like that. But we got to start holding these guys accountable. Or people like, listen, when this happened in LA, then what was the guy's name? Gates or whatever the case, that cop, he got removed.
Which, I mean, here's the thing. I do think that in business, we hold a higher standard than sometimes what's being held in other areas, certainly in certain police precincts and that kind of thing. We don't tolerate that level of poor performance, for lack of a better word. In business, it's a lot. I was in the military, so I have to sometimes balance my military experience with a business experience, but they're very similar to me. And I don't know. I think tolerating that level of poor performance, in business you get fired, and sometimes there's a forgiveness that goes on. And you're right, to stand by and be watching is be implicated in it yourself. Like we either you stand up for something good or you don't. And I think for us, Damon, one of the things we're wrestling with is, and whether it's the injustice and the racism and the things that we're seeing of just the last week, or the pandemic and 3 months of fighting a virus and fighting the fear of a virus. One of the things I'm wrestling with is how do I not end up pointing the finger and saying, well, that guy over there really needs to fix. When we get through the other side of this thing, when we get through this pandemic, then that guy had better change. And so I think as a company, we're just asking ourselves, no, how do I change? Like, what inside of me needs to break a little bit so that I mend better on the other side of this thing? And so, I don't know, I would wonder, as you look at the pandemic, as you look at the country that's sort of reeling now from two really serious issues, how does it hit you, and how does it, like, what kinds of things inside of you are you like, you know what, when I come out on the other side of this thing, I'm going to be a little different, a little stronger, because that's kind of been our response a little bit. It's just like, I can't fix that guy over there, but I could start with me, and maybe that's the right,
I think
right approach.
Brilliant question. That's been the thing that has been keeping me up for quite some time, saying, how can I use my voice to help fight this and not just go, rah, 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 and then it goes away, and then all of a sudden it happens again, rah, 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 rah. I always look at it from an economic standpoint, because I always tell people, I've been on the other side of that unfortunate type of action. I've looked down the barrel of a cop's gun several times when I was guilty of having T-shirts in my car and I was just trying to touch the stars, right? And how many people could have been other Damon Johns or Magic Johnsons or Jay-Z's to employ people that we will never ever see because we lost them.
Yeah.
I say to myself, is there an economic way to help support things? Like, I'll give you an example. There's an app, and I have it on my phone. I'm sorry I won't be able to find it right at the moment because I don't want to disrupt this thing. But there's an app that shows that I use all the time. If I go to a hotel room, I take a picture of the hotel room. It's a simple app.
Okay.
Put it on this app and put it on this site. And what it does is it has the technology to match the hotel rooms to sex trafficking sites. Because a lot of the people that use sex trafficking, they use the same hotel rooms, and what it does is starts matching them.
Yeah.
And it combines, and now it is called a lot of sex traffickers, right?
Cool.
Now, are there apps like that? Because somebody else, I think I was speaking on a network, and they were like, well, they already have body cams who are out there with the police officer. No, but the body cam is too late. Once we get to the body cam, the body's in a body bag already, right? How do we have certain levels of technology that will be able to track people, track their, you know what, listen, if a sex offender comes into your neighborhood, don't you get notified?
My own phone doesn't get those, but yeah, a lot of my neighbors get it, and you know what's going on.
The know gets notified, right?
Right.
So why can't there be some kind of technology that shows here's how many reports are being done by this person, by this officer, by this, by that. Here was the same 5 that are always around. Because
right.
we go in to buy a song, you can see what all your friends bought, right? You go into something you could find. There's technology that can sit there and go, guys, this is right in your face.
There's thousands of people that rate my restaurant. Before you ever come, how many reviews have you read about it, right? Like, oh, I have an opinion about this dish. Boom. I love it or hate it. We get pinged all the time. So it'd be amazing if certain officers had, I'm not saying a Yelp for police, but I do think that there's an ability maybe to sort of say, hey, look, these guys are upstanding, incredible civil servants. This one over here, he's on the bottom end of the rung and is about to lose his job. He's already had a zillion infractions or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think that's a leadership issue. I look to the folks in charge of those guys and say, look, these are your troops. These men and women, they work for you, and you know what's going on. You know what's being said in the locker rooms. You know what's being said behind closed doors. You know the kinds of, like, I believe inherently that it's a deficit of leadership in these organizations to cut it out at the very get-go. But you know how it is. It's like with little kids. You let them give a little bit, they take a little bit more. You give a little bit, they take a little bit more, and suddenly we find ourselves in situations where lives are lost.
Once you let that cat out the bag, the Yelp of the thing, then there is no denying a lot of time. Now people coming and knocking on your door as a leader, meaning, the police, right? Because if you can give initiatives to cops to meet their quota in speeding tickets and or tickets, I guess there's some kind of incentivized way when they say I meet my quota. Why can't you reward if you see that crime is going down as well as police brutality, whatever, in precincts and districts, because you're starting to pluck out the bad apples.
Yeah.
I don't want to take this too far down that road because I want us all here to learn from you and I and speaking about business and stuff like that. And I understand how heavy your heart is. And I love the fact that it's like that because you are like 99% of Americans going, geez, what are we doing here, right? So absolutely, I think that there's some ways, and even I'm talking about an app. I don't care what it is. There's smarter younger kids out here, or people, or older people who or people who understand police science, who understand what needs to be done. I'm just throwing it out there, but it needs to be taken out of the hands of this small tight unit of people who protect each other. You police in jail or sending them to the chair for murder, other cops are going to say, you know what? I don't think I feel like going to the chair today.
Some accountability, right? Like there's got to be accountability. And as a country, that's not been our strong suit. From the top down, it's a hard thing for us to
for improvement,
to hold accountable.
Perfect. I have made a lot of mistakes in my life, but thank God I wasn't leading an entire, city or country or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
I know you're being hard on yourself, and I'm being hard on myself too. And together, that's when I was talking about diversification. Guys and girls like us, we're gonna figure this thing out. I have hope in America. I think it's the greatest place on the planet.
I wouldn't trade it for anywhere in the world, but we got work to do. You know what I mean? And you're right. It doesn't take away hope, but I think an honest look in the mirror that just says, okay, here we go. Like, and now this is our time. Now we got to change something. And so I think it's hard to hold both truths. On the one truth, we're so blessed to be in this country. And on the other truth, our country has so much work to do, right? And it's hard to hold those things in tension. Any tension, I think, is hard. And so that's where we find ourselves today, is being thankful for what is good, and just, praying for the courage to have the guts to rip out what's bad and start over. And it's hard to not throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you're right about that. I wouldn't trade this country for anything.
As long as we got guys like you and people like you, then I think we're in good shape, because we have these conversations, because it's time to have these conversations. These conversations are being had every day, every minute right now, because of people like you. I want to ask you one thing though, and of course you may have another question for me, but what do you suggest? I'm not a restaurateur. I that's not my space. You have a high touch business. You're in the middle of this country reopening, and you never know if it may close back. What do you suggest to people that are in your business that may not have had the skills of being in it for so long and learning so much? What advice can you give to the people right now to strengthen our people who are in your business or even similar businesses?
Yeah, Damon, that's something that it's probably the number one question I get asked, is how does a restaurant like yours survive in the restaurant business, which is famous for being a tough place. And the thing I always come back to is you got to check your motives at the very beginning. And for us, we got a really weird mission statement here. It is all about turning toward one another. It's literally to inspire all people to turn toward one another. That's the whole point of the company. It's not to feed people. It's not to make money. All those things are over here on the side. But for us, we just say, this is what we're going to do with our lives. This is what we're going to do with our business. And every decision we make is based off of that one thing. So I think before you even get into business, big or small, you've got to realize, or before you even go to work for someone, you've got to be asking them the question in the interview, what's this company about? And how am I going to change as a human being? How am I going to grow as a human being because I'm working for you or because I'm working for your company? And if you don't start with the point, then what's the point? Like life is short and our time is precious, and we don't have time to be wasting away working for companies or people that we don't believe in. And so at Canlis, that's always been, I think, maybe one of our saving graces. It's just had the ability to say, this is what it's about for us. It's about inspiring all people to turn toward one another, and that's what hospitality is at its very base roots. It's me exchanging my everything that I have for the stranger, for the complete stranger that's in need. And so that's an exchange of power, right? If we go back to the beginning of hospitality, you're knocking on a door and you're a traveler and you're saying, look, I need food, or I need shelter, I need water, I need safety. I'm running out of daylight here, and my camel is tired or something, right? And you're knocking on my door and I'm opening it up and I'm saying, I got you. And you don't have to do that, but that's the magic. It's the exchange of power right there that says, hey, I'm in my home, I'm in my safe place, and I see your need, and I'm going to exchange what I have for your need. That's the power of hospitality, and I think that's not just a lesson for restaurants. I think that's a lesson for business. I think that's what we do. Business isn't just about making money. That's just one of the rules of the game. That's not the point of business, is to make money. One of the rules is you got to make money or someone else is going to take your business, right? But the point is that we all live on this planet together, us on this hill, in this city, in this country, and how am I going to provide goods and services to someone over there and also do well for the community? And so if we don't start from I don't know, maybe it's easy because we're in the restaurant business, but I think you start from a place of hospitality. You start from a place of saying, what impact am I going to have on the people around me? If we don't start there, I don't know.
I think it's very powerful points that a lot of people a lot of times don't think about. Because people brush over it, customer first, or whatever. What does that mean, right? Like it's the same with me. When I started off with shirts, nobody bought it because it was a shirt. Bought it because I said, I want to make you feel good. Are you okay? And I think when you go back to
That's
the,
what they believed in. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people think that, and I think you just hit it really on the head. And I don't think I've ever heard it explained like that before about the origination of it. I've heard it explained in different ways. Some people have said, well, we just sell food, we sell good food. No, you can buy and make good food anywhere in the world.
Yep.
You're selling an emotion. Somebody's going there to you to say, I feel warm here. I feel comfortable here. I can sit down with my family or my wife or whatever, or a stranger and have
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
conversation over good food. But
It's you know what it is? It's safety. It's like I'm bringing to you my daughter's only 16th birthday. I don't get to celebrate this again. This is my one night to be with her, and that doesn't happen again, right? Like I'm bringing to you our very first anniversary. It never happens again. I'm bringing you my mom who's struggling with cancer, and maybe next year she's not going to be here. That's what they're bringing, and you're providing safety. You're saying, you know what, that one night, that night that's so important to you, I got you. I got you. And everything I have, my food, my service, my view, whatever it is, we're gonna use that stuff to lift you up and to put the spotlight on you and to make a place that would actually honor the thing that you brought us, which is like a night you'll never get back. And so to me, it's not about food or it's not about service in any way. It's about understanding the guest's need and just saying, how do I carve out a space in this restaurant so that it actually serves you? You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
So many times I feel like businesses just kind of throw their product at you like it's something that you need. They don't know if it's what you need. And so I think we have to change our business. We have to change ourselves to make space for each and every guest that walks into the front door, because I go to dinner, you go to dinner, he goes to dinner. We're all different. We all got different needs. And if a restaurant isn't willing to change itself for the guest's needs, then what are we doing? Who are we really serving? We're serving ourselves, and that's our service.
I have heard that. I've heard that, as a restaurant owner, you can cook the same steak for everybody. Everybody will have a different experience with that steak because
Yeah.
we all. So you have to be so caring about what you're doing, and it sounds like it. And I'm, a really great point.
Try making it happen over here. So one day we'll actually get to open back up as a restaurant and do that. Right now we're just gonna pack that up into a box and deliver it to your doorstep. But it's it's one day at a time, and so we're fortunate to be doing what we're doing.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for giving our people watching and T-Mobile for Business fans this insight, which I'm sure people right now, if they get off this, they're gonna double check their list. Are they doing that for their people? They're gonna other people saying dad or mom or sister or brother or son, go back to the core, to the basics. Remember what you got into this thing for.
Yeah.
And because during these times you're lost and confused, every day I wake up, I go, is this nightmare over or was it a dream? Are you kidding me? I got to get back on my regular schedule. I turn around, I'm here again. Sometimes the basics and the fundamentals to bring me back to why I even started and what's my why.
Start with the fundamentals. Wake up and find one thing to be thankful for. You know what I mean? Because sometimes that's hard. Like, I'll be honest, sometimes you get crushed and overwhelmed by the headlines, and rightfully so. I woke up this morning and I was like, the sky hasn't fallen. There's one thing I can be thankful for, and I have so many others, right? So many more, and so that's just that lifts me up a little bit. But start with the why. I love it. Thanks. It's such an honor to be on this. Thank you. Thanks for covering it. You bet. Be well.
Bring my desk down because we were on a split screen. I was extremely moved by what he said. I think that you can learn from any and everybody, and that's why I love saying to myself, walk in the room with the dumbest person, because you never know, you may learn something that morning that ends up saving your life at night. And I'm going to write those notes down about the core, right, of business. And what's your core? right? Who are you? Are you diversified? Are you thinking outside the box? Are you taking inventory of what you currently have, what you do? Why do people come to you? And if you keep having to go back to that, and sometimes you'll hear this from me various different times, but you know what? Sometimes we all got to be reminded. Many of us here, we forgot more than other people have learned if you are a student of life. And a lot of times somebody needs to just remind you on what's going on. Be thankful for what you have, but make sure you keep educating yourself during this crazy tough time. If you have any ideas for me on how I can either blow up a platform of yours or pass it on to somebody that may be able to take some of the pain away from all of us that we are experiencing over this last couple of weeks or months or years, let me know. So I want to go to the challenge of the week, and this is where I challenge you to challenge yourself. I'm going to give you a little challenge that I decided to challenge myself this week with. And I said, well, if I'm going to challenge myself, I might as well challenge you as well. Identify the 2 to 5 words that describe you and what you stand for. Many of you have heard me say this already. Remember, can you put yourself in 2 to 5 words? 2 to 5 words. Apple think different, Nike just do it. Food before us, buy us, White Castle, what you crave. T-Mobile for business. That's not their 2 to 5 words, but that's the 2 to 5 words that we are talking about today because of them giving so much back to the community and resources and trying to help people. TNT, we know drama. TBS, very funny. Can you put yourself in 2 to 5 words? Why do I say that? I always tell people because if you cannot describe yourself in 2 to 5 words, then you're leaving it up to everybody else to interpret and to say who you are. When you walk into a room, when you walk into a Zoom, what are your 2 to 5 words? People are judgmental. We judge in the first 30 seconds of seeing people. They say a jury exonerates or convicts somebody in the first 30 seconds of seeing them. After that, all they want to do is hear or see them say things that are going to reconfirm what they already think about them. And why do we need to put ourselves in 2 to 5 words? Because many people are not even talking to you for you to tell them who you are. They're looking at you through here, through this digital device. Oh, that's me and my mommy, just chilling, hanging in there. Can you put yourself in 2 to 5 words? Are you telling your kids what are their 2 to 5 words when they're on social media? Because when they're going to look for jobs now or internships, we're pulling them up right here, and we are seeing what are they saying. And they may be just quoting a song. I looked at one of my friends a tweet he sent out the other day, and maybe as me being dyslexic, or maybe the fact that I have so many different things going through our devices. I saw some stuff that was extremely, extremely negative. And he's a guy like me, was a business guy like me, and I decided just to text him because I was close enough to him. And I said, "What the hell did you put that up there for?" And he said, "You didn't read it. I was saying a lyric of a song." Now, if I didn't know him well enough to text him about that, that would have registered in my mind as, what 2 to 5 words he is at 50 years old. He's an ignorant person that I don't want to have anything to do with, and I will start slowly backing away from him. On the other hand, I have gotten and I've seen kids and great people who have posted beautiful images of empowering things or sharing with people how to improve their lives. Hopefully that's why you follow me, because I try to share with you things, and they always say how to be uplifted and give tools, because they know keeping it to themselves is never going to do anything. Give, and they're always giving. And I always want to say to them, how are you doing? How's your family? Everything okay with you? You good? I know you're always saying some positive stuff there, but you're human. You good? Are you good? Because anybody checking on you? So I say that to say, what are your 2 to 5 words? Your 2 to 5 words can change during the course of your life. It can change every week. But are your 2 to 5 words right now looking for peace? Is it finding ways to empower? Is it how can I help? Is it family first, customers first? Can I do more? Here, learning, living, loving. What are your 2 to 5 words? So it could be 10 words. All right, no problem. Please make them 10, make them 20, make them 30. But that's it. I'm not going to take up more of your time, because I'm going to be able to see you and do this with you every single week and give you more information because of T-Mobile for Business. But I want you to understand there is further resources you can go to. go over to tmobile.com/small business. Get those resources. Keep learning. I love to work with brands such as T-Mobile who love to give back, to give you this education, to give me this education, and make sure that you do that. And so thank you all. Have a really great week. Be safe. If you see somebody out there doing something, don't let them ruin the cause. Tell them to stop. And if you don't have the power, or you don't want to, or you're not around to be able to go out there, keep looking and trying to find other ways that we can, make us all a little bit better. I believe that we all have more in common than we have apart. None of us want to be judged unfairly. We all want to just be able to take care of our families, have our health, and love people that we want to love, and even love people that we don't know. And we never want to, everybody I've ever met in my life wants to work hard for $1 and never wants anything handed down to them. I don't care who you are. So I think that we have just so much more in common. And thank you so much. And thank you guys. And I'll see you tomorrow. Mañana. Later.